In the heart of the Scottish Highlands, where rolling mists danced around ancient stones, and the air tasted of damp earth and wild heather, an invitation arrived that sent shivers down my spine. The note, penned in elegant script, bore the unmistakable seal of Alistair Croft, a reclusive billionaire known for his eccentricities and whispered rumors. It was not an invitation for the faint of heart, nor for those tethered to a rational view of existence. I, a forensic archaeologist specializing in death rituals, was summoned to his sprawling estate, a compound built over an enigmatic geological anomaly. As I approached the estate, the shadows cast by the setting sun elongated, creating a foreboding pathway to the grand entrance. The mansion loomed large like a sentinel, watching over its secrets. Inside, we gathered in a library that resembled a cathedral, its towering shelves brimming with first editions and artifacts that could make any museum curator weep with envy. The scent of aged paper and wood smoke filled the air, mingling with an undercurrent of something ominous. Croft stood before a roaring fire, his eyes glinting with an unnerving intensity that hinted at a fire deep within. "For all of human history," he began, his voice a low rumble that sent ripples of unease through the room, "we have pondered what comes after. Religion, philosophy, science, none have provided a definitive answer. We look for the soul in the ether, when we should be looking in the stone, in the very fabric of reality." With a flourish, he led us to an elevator that descended into the depths of the estate, where the air grew colder and stilled, a stark contrast to the warm glow of the library. The doors opened to reveal a cavern so immense that its ceiling was lost to darkness. At the cavern's center stood a machine that was not merely constructed, but seems to have grown from the very earth itself. It was crafted from polished black obsidian and crystalline formations that pulsed with an eerie internal light, radiating a sense of ancient power. "This is the lithoscope," Croft announced, pride thick in his voice. "It does not read electromagnetic signals or quantum states. It reads memory, not the memory of the mind, but the atomic memory imprinted on matter by intense, final trauma. The moment of death." Dr. Lena Petrova, the neurologist, scoffed, her skepticism palpable. "That's impossible. You're talking about capturing a ghost on a rock." "Not a ghost, Doctor," Croft countered gently, his intensity unwavering. "An echo. The universe at a quantum level is a recording device. A violent death, a murder, a sacrifice, a mass tragedy releases a catastrophic burst of psychic energy. That energy scars the local matter. The lithoscope can tune into that frequency and play it back." He gestured to a smaller chamber filled with numbered niches, each containing an artifact, each one a key to unlock moments of terror from history. As he reverently selected a brick from the Warsaw Ghetto, a sense of dread curled in my stomach. When the brick touched the lithoscope, the crystalline structures flared, bathing the cavern in a sickly green light. The air thickened with an almost electric hum that made our teeth ache. Then, images began to flicker to life, phantoms of light and shadow, not quite holograms, but more like memories materializing in the dark. We were thrust into the final moments of despair, the outlines of people huddled in terror, their screams mingling with gunfire and the sound of collapsing buildings. The emotional weight was suffocating. A wave of pure, undiluted despair washed over me, pulling me to my knees, the taste of ash and fear lingering on my tongue. When the projection ceased, our faces were pale, haunted. Croft, however, wore a satisfied expression, an unsettling mix of triumph and madness. "My God," Professor Evans whispered, his voice trembling. "You've built a machine that lets you watch snuff films from history." "I've built a machine that allows us to bear witness," Croft replied, "to give voice to the silenced and to solve historical mysteries." As the weeks passed, we became his archivists. With each artifact, the lithoscope unveiled stories from the past, each revelation a thread in the tapestry of human suffering. But the archive was not passive. It was hungry. Croft grew increasingly obsessed, spending hours in the cavern, his eyes taking on a haunted look. Strange statements slipped from his lips. They are not just memories. They know we are here. They are jealous. The phenomena started subtly, the temperature in our rooms plummeting for no reason, whispers echoing in dead languages. I began to dream vividly, reliving the deaths we witnessed, not as observers, but as victims. The archive was awakening, and we were its unwitting participants. The crisis erupted when Croft unveiled a secret artifact, a small, smooth black stone found clutched in the hand of a Neanderthal skeleton. The last of his kind, Croft said, his voice trembling with excitement. We protested, warning of the immense energy required and the psychological fallout. But Croft was impervious to reason. He placed the stone in the receptacle. The lithoscope erupted in a blinding white light, the hum transforming into a deafening roar that felt as if it were tearing apart the very fabric of reality. From the shadows congealed shapes not human but primal fears, the terror of unseen predators, the agony of starvation, the deep loneliness of extinction. Then we saw him, the Neanderthal. His presence was solid, his eyes ancient and filled with the weight of countless deaths. The archive was a graveyard, and we had awakened all its ghosts. Croft was the first to succumb, his body contorting as he screamed in languages not his own, a vessel overwhelmed by the collective death throes of history. Then they turned on us. Lena fell next, lost within the echo of a plague victim. Evans and I fled, the cacophony of screams following us up the elevator. The estate itself transformed into a haunting nightmare. Portraits wept blood, armor turned to watch us, and the very air thickened with the residue of despair. We burst into the cold Highland night, the dread of what we had unleashed, echoing in our minds. We told the authorities a sanitized story, a tragic accident. The estate was sealed, the cavern dynamited shut. A year later, Professor Evans took his own life, leaving behind a note that simply read, "I can still hear the screaming." I became the last remaining witness, living a quiet, isolated life, surrounded by white noise machines to drown out the silence. Because in that silence, I can still hear them, the whisper of the gladiator, the prayer of the nun, and the final, desperate thought of the last Neanderthal, a profound sadness for all that was lost. Alistair Croft was wrong. The lithoscope didn't just read memories. It gave them a voice, and now they have a chorus, echoing through the world, seeking to share their stories. I fear they are starting to find new ways to tell them. The archive is not destroyed. It has simply been set free. And I am its last living